I'm as happy as ever.
Yeah, no, the nice thing is we're now kind of into that season where like it's hectic, but because it's more like it's sort of stuff happening every day now as well. It's not just necessarily like one like Super Saturday, Super Sunday. It's just sport everywhere at the moment. And if you're a Formula One fan, for example, that's also about to start happening. So things are about to start ramping up. Coming up in the show tonight, however, we'll be discussing a lot of rugby. We had the URC back this past weekend. We had a Springbok squad or an alignment camp group, if you want to be very specific, come out. We also got Six Nations back this coming weekend. We're going to be talking about some cricket. We're going to be talking about baseball and whether England can stage a comeback against India in the next test, which starts on Friday. We're going to be talking about the Proteas test loss against New Zealand, which some of us did predict on, and what it means going forward. And then we're going to wrap up the show with a bit of Premier League. Manchester City kicking off in like half an hour, actually. So we'll be interested to see how that goes. Dan, as a Liverpool fan, is obviously going to watch that with quite a keen eye, given the fact that they did falter this last weekend. But anyway, we are going to get straight into it. Dan, should we talk a bit about some rugby and the fact that
Stevie, URC... You're jumping ahead. We've got our predictions from last week.
Because my
guts don't try to scoot past this.
I don't think I've done very well here.
So if you are new around here, every week Steve and I are predicting 3 different predictions of sports games, and whoever gets more of the predictions right gets a, I guess, weekly point. Stevie is up 2-0. To be fair, so I needed to stage a bit of a comeback, and let's see how that went. First off was the Proteas versus New Zealand game. As you would know, the Proteas went on to lose that by 7 wickets. With Kane Williamson being man of the match. No, not man of the match. Well, O'Rourke was man of the match, but Kane Williamson player of the series, showing his class. We'll get into the game specifics, but our predictions were Stevie went for the draw, which, to be fair, looked on the cards at a point, and I said a losing margin by 150. I don't know why I went for runs when we batted first, but we moved. And New Zealand won by 7 wickets. So I'm going to say 150 runs is closer to 7 wickets than a draw is, Stevie. So I'm going to take that one because at least I had the loss. I did like the draw prediction. I felt pretty safe going into day 5 because it was either going to be a win or loss. But flip to, or was it day 4, the final day? It was day 4.
Day 5.
Get to day 5.
No, so it was, we crumbled. Is the problem?
Yeah, a draw. You needed some rain there. But anyway, so 1-0 to me. Premier League, we went for City vs Chelsea. The result was 1-1. Chelsea breaking the City winning run of I think 14 games, I believe. Leaving them with a couple fewer points than they would have liked, but rescuing one at the end. Stevie, your prediction was 4-0. Mine was 3-1, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself another point there because I think I'm a little bit closer. I mean, what are we going to do?
We both got the result wrong.
Yeah, but who was the closer of the two? There can only be one.
That's ballsy. Ballsy.
Well, if you want to leave that one, you can leave that one because then we'll get into the Lions versus Bulls. Bulls going on to win that game, 25 points to 10. Stevie, your prediction was Lions by 5. Mine was Bulls by 4. So in which case, I got all, I got 2 of the 3 predictions right. Unfortunately, my good sir, you got none of them. So it's 2-1.
2-1, eh?
And I'm finally on the scoreboard. No longer the donut. But yeah, stay tuned for our next week's prediction at the end of this episode. We'll be covering the Arsenal versus Newcastle game, the India versus England 4th test, as well as the Calcutta Cup, Scotland versus England. Stevie, let's chat rugby.
Yeah, interesting weekend. URC back, 2 local derbies. Before we even talk about the match, we talk about the crowds. 25,000 people
Phenomenal.
at Emirates Airline Park, and I think about 30,000 or something along those lines at Kings Park. So another weekend of almost 25, 30,000 fans in stadiums, and especially for Ayers Park, it's very impressive. The fans are back in stadiums in a big way. Rugby is alive and well down here, isn't it?
All they had to do was offer the students free beer, and then the whole of Joburg went to the game, or the whole, but about 10 times more than they come to
Than the
expect.
usuals.
But hopefully it means, because it seems to be I guess the Sharks to an extent, but the Lions seem to be the last of the clubs that haven't really been able to galvanize the fan base. But now that I guess fixtures are starting to change up, I hope the fans come back.
And they're playing decent rugby as well, which does help. You're not going there just to watch them getting absolutely mauled every single time. They're actually semi-competitive at the moment, which makes for a nice change. But in terms of the actual match, not the greatest match from the Lions. Not sure I appreciated Jake White, the comments he made about the Lions, and basically inferring that the Lions don't play any rugby, we're not particularly dangerous, and then went back to the last game and said, well, you take away the moment of individual brilliance from Snare Nahamba, and this counter-attack try and this moment, and they're not that great. And you're going, okay, Jake, so you take away the good rugby and there wasn't any good rugby. Like, they got their first try off a moment of brilliance from Ambrose Appear. So that's fine. That's nice attacking rugby. But as soon as Nahamba does it, that's just a freak moment. But anyway, a frustrating day I felt for the Lions. Now, don't even tell me down on Jake White. Every single time I start to think, maybe he's just mellowed a bit. He just comes back with some clangers.
Yeah, I think he's just, I think when people get over, they just speak their mind a bit more, and he wants to say what he wants to say. And he doesn't really care anymore, which on one hand is quite funny, but he can come across as a bit grumpy nowadays. But I mean, Springbok rugby is better for having him in the system. I still love him. He's a Springbok winning coach. But yeah, no, great game. Tries from Kanan Moody, Akafana Mava, Marcel Kutsia, and David Creel with an absolute superhero dive over your boy.
Jason Torres has been watching that back for a while now and not enjoying what he's seeing.
To be fair, when I saw it was him and Ambrose Papier, I kind of thought Ambrose Papier would be the one to get there with his pace. But jeepers, did he do well to get just up. Faloza didn't see it. Chip and chase, got to defend it, ushering the ball back over the line, waiting to dot it down. He just superhero dives over his shoulder, grabs the ball, dots it down. Unreal. And then a single try from Kieran Horn, ending 10 points to 25.
Yeah, I don't think a scoreline that necessarily affected the game. I thought the Lions had that try disallowed early in the second half, and I thought both teams were one try away from actually being able to kick onto into second gear. And I think if that Lions try had stood, I think they could have gone on to build a bit of momentum. And similarly, I think the fact that it was ruled out and then the Bulls scored shortly after, that I think was just such a big swing.
It was very low scoring for most of the match.
Yeah,
for most of the match,
take away. No, it was. I don't think it was going to be a blowout. And I said, I think that David Creel try at the end was a bit of a, pretty sloppy at the end. And you don't concede that try, and it finishes, sort of 20 points to 10 or 18 points to 10, and it's relatively low scoring. But I was frustrated at the Lions. I do think that they were a bit conservative at times. I think frustrating. So I would like to have seen them throw a bit more caution to the wind and try have a go. I don't think they're miles behind this Bulls side, and I think that I generally still believe that they can beat this Bulls side. And I think that they're the player for player. I think they're starting to feel that they can contend with the player in front of them. I think that's the main thing. You no longer have that sort of imposter syndrome where you look up at the player opposite you and feel that there's this massive gulf of quality. We'll talk about Springbok squad in those alignment camps. Will also sit there thinking, well, actually, cool, I could also be a Springbok. I'm playing against World Cup winners, but I'm also being seen as a future Springbok. Therefore, I'm in the same sort of quality as these guys. So hopefully that will give a lot of confidence to what is a pretty strong Lions contingent in that box squad. But your boys looked pretty good this weekend. Sharks similarly looked pretty tame, to be honest. They continue to look like a very average rugby side.
Yeah, ending 25-point Stormers, 21 Sharks. I mean, a couple a late try by Bongi Mbunambi, but 3 tries apiece. Dweba rounding Apelele Fassi on the
That was
outside.
phenomenal. A
Uh,
little shimmy as well, dude. That
uh,
killed me.
oh, it was so good. It
It
was
was
so,
also
and all, I mean,
unnecessary
even if he ran
because
straight, I don't think Fassi was
that's what I'm
stopping him.
saying.
To be
There's no
fair,
chance
he
Fussy was
came
ever
from
stopping Joseph
far.
Dweber. Like Joseph Dweber at full
Absolute, like
force.
definition of a cannonball.
Yeah,
So
no,
you're
just
saying?
but there's one thing that is we all know Joseph Dweber struggled line wise, but if there's one thing that you cannot pay me enough to do is to try and tackle Joseph Dweber at full flight because he is an absolute monster
Oh,
with ball in hand. So I don't think
and
he needed to
like
step,
has
but
some gas as well.
no, he's not slow.
Yeah,
So I
no,
think
love the
maybe that
step
was just
though.
a bit of
Love
a
the
flex to
step.
the box coaches to say, hey, I'm not just a physical presence. I've got a bit of gas, got a bit of a step here. You know, I can jawl around the park.
Yeah, no, love that from him. Then a second try from Paul de Vet, a lovely little chip and chase from Warren Gelant, then offload to de Vet, who goes under. Ben Loader also going down in the corner.
Mm.
And then the 3 tries from the Sharks being Oxen Chair, Fenton, and good old Bongs crashing over. So, I mean, great. Also, kicking from Ngomezulu,
Mm.
unreal, to be
Yeah, he's
fair.
a good goal kicker.
Absolutely slotting them from distance, from the corner. That's the one thing that that man has got. But excited. I mean, the Stormers, it was a very different team. You know, think of a center
Young side,
partnership.
very young side.
Ngomezulu and Hartenberg at 12-13.
Not to
You
mention
know,
Yuri
that's
Matia
a hell
at
of a
10.
test for them. Yeah.
I mean, he was playing Varsity Cup a
It
year
was a
ago.
very, yeah, yeah. He's a Staley's boy, no?
Yeah, literally, guys. So I was doing the Varsity Cup watchalong last night, and they've signed John Mostert from the Bulls. And they were saying, you know what, they had to find a new fly half because Yuri Matia is now contracted with the province. So it goes to show you, a year ago he was playing Varsity Cup, a year later he's playing URC. So the Varsity Cup continues to be a genuine pipeline straight into the top levels of professional rugby.
It's so good. I mean, it's probably the equivalent of what's below the Currie Cup, but it's like kind of the Premiership division there. Like
Yeah, I
that.
mean,
That's kind of. I'm sure they could compete. Maybe not always physically, but I mean, the amount of players that go through there. I think what's great about it is that it's not seen like knowing that even if you don't get a coming out of school get a club contract,
yeah, go to
it's
Varsity.
fully like within your reach to go on and still become a professional by going to a
A
university
period
that plays in the Varsity Cup.
You
Yeah,
know, he
literally,
is one of the
literally.
he is probably the biggest success story. You know, just wasn't a big rugby player. Played at Res Rugby. UJ said, "Come start training with
Yeah,
us." Played a couple of Varsity Cup games. Suddenly playing, lighting
nuts.
up the things. Lions say, "Well, let's give it a chance." 2 years later, he's the breakthrough player of the world. 3 years later, he's banned. Anyway,
Yeah, not such a pretty ending.
yeah, but so he's back
Although, yeah,
and had a couple of nice moments this weekend. I'll tell you what, though, I feel vindicated, and I think half the country feels vindicated because Sharks have gone with Currie week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. Sian Masuka was signed from the Cheetahs after having a phenomenal season, has not played a single minute. This past weekend, played, I think 20 minutes of that, and the Sharks looked a different side with him on the field. And I don't understand how a brains trust like the Sharks have taken, 5 months into the season to give this guy a go.
Yeah, it's weird. It's such a clear place that they need to focus on. Like, I think Bosch can, do a job on the fringes. I think, he's kind of been figured out, I feel. Like, I'm surprised that he's still playing so much rugby in South Africa. He almost just doesn't suit the South African game. He could go lots of places around the world and be very successful, I think, at club competition. But in South Africa, it really doesn't suit him. And, like, obviously, he's got an amazing boot. But Masuka, like, as you said, the talent that he showed in that Cheetahs jersey, and then you go and sign him thinking, okay, they're making an effort to, taking a risk on this guy to come into the 10 jersey and then go with the repeated process. And it's clear. I mean, I think one of the biggest downfalls, and we can, chat about their potential incoming signings in Trevor Nyakane and Andre Estes next season, but there just seems this massive gulf between the world class players and their other players, and they just continue to stick with them.
I think the frustrating thing is, I think I mean, I think for ability-wise, I look at those non-World Cup players, the non-Springbok players, and these are all players they've signed from other unions where they've done really, really well. And they've now going to the Sharks and they just can't emulate that kind of level. So for whatever reason, but for me, it's been such a disaster season that what did they have to lose by saying in January or in December, well, listen, let's give this kid a run. Even the Challenge Cup, when they're playing against, the power under 13s. They didn't decide, what have we got to lose? Let's give him some minutes off the bench. He just has, he literally made his debut this past weekend. I get the press releases every week. He's been available. He's not been injured, unless they just decide to leave him out of the press releases, because they always release the injured players and he was never there. So he's been available. They just haven't played him. And I cannot understand why you wouldn't just try it at some point.
Yeah.
But hopefully I'll try this weekend.
Yeah, I think there's a general lack of identity at the Sharks. I mean, if you look at their games, played 10, lost 9, won 1, but 6 losing points. So their points difference is actually, they're sitting in 16th, but based on points difference, they would be 12th, right? Which means that they're not losing by a lot. They're just not getting over the line, and it shows that that's in the quality of players that they have. They're not as bad as the Dragons or even the Scarlets or Zebre.
They're a top 8 side. They're a top 8 squad at the very least.
They compete with everyone, but they just haven't got it to get over the line. So, I mean, they're kind of waiting for things to click into gear. They're needing, I think I felt almost like Stormers could have gone in that direction when there was the move over to the new stadium from Newlands, and there was a bit of an identity crisis and a lot of financial issues. Dobber was kind of the person that instilled that identity within the team and got them to believe in largely a bunch of no ones. I mean, we saw what happened to Mani Liebok when a bit of
no ones and rejects. I think that's the main thing. Warwick Galant, Mani Liebok, Hachiva Diamani, 3 players who were surplus to requirements of other unions, and those have been 3 of their best players in the past 3 seasons. And on a word on Warwick Galant, he finally looked like the Warwick Galant we saw before we went to France this past weekend. His best game for me this season.
I don't think it takes too much, but he's stopped realizing that he doesn't have to, grubber and dummy every single time. I think when he keeps that as the kind of in his back pocket, and doesn't reveal it all the time, he's so mega talented, that oak. So when he does whip it out, I mean, you could have bet your life that he was going to cross kick that one, just a little dink over the top. Like, no one really saw that coming from his position. But yeah, he's been really great. But yeah, I mean, really, really horrible season that's shaping up if you're a Sharks fan.
No, it's a disaster season. I mean, they're not making the Champions Cup unless they win the Challenge Cup. I've done videos where I've said basically that's their chance. They don't go and win the Challenge Cup, which they could from a playing personnel point of view. They could, but
they're not losing by a lot of points.
No, and it's the Challenge Cup, so it's going to be a tough run. But you look at the quality of teams, and obviously a lot of teams are now dropped down from the Champions Cup, because so that's what's going to make this a bit more difficult, because you've got some quality sides that are dropped down. Edinburgh, for example, Gloucester's now come down. There are some. There's some good sides that are going to be in the next round. You've got a Montpellier, for example, Ulster. I think Sale Sharks will come down as well. So there are some good sides that you're going to have to try and beat. But at the end of the day, I keep saying the Sharks project is a Champions of Europe project. So, I mean, this is the equivalent of Europa League. This is the type of competition they see themselves being able to win. That's the whole point of the kind of the project and what they're trying to accomplish. And what I think the owner of the Sharks, Marco Mazzotti, needs to spend more time doing than being on Twitter calling out refereeing decisions, which he did earlier today. So if you've not seen it, with the basically so URC posted the video of Warwick Galant's trial, which, by the way, as most people are saying, the real crime is the fact that you allowed Warwick Galant like 4 years worth of time to look up and decide what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But he chipped and chased and then gave an inside ball to Paul de Vet. And if you look at the replay, it looks like Paul de Vet is in fact advancing whilst before being played on side. And this is what Marco Mazzotti basically flagged. And he has been basically torn apart for it. Basically, people saying, regardless of whether you got a point or not, it's first of all, it's a really bad look for the owner of a side to be, complaining about the referee and stuff like that. And he actually doubled down and had to go and basically put out a whole long tweet saying that, the referees are referees and yada, 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 and they get decisions wrong. But, maybe this is how things can change and stuff. But
it's a classic version. It's like, you can't start speaking about the stuff when you are 1 from 10.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So this is the thing.
There are greater powers at play.
That you've got such a disaster.
And how many world
season.
champions?
You've got on your hands. You have a failed project. Right now, it is a failed project. There is
looking
nothing.
at like a fringe decision. Looking at a fringe decision. It's like, okay, the heat's on me. How do I deflect? And he just thinks the referee. But not a good look for him. But Stevie, let's get into something very exciting. Springbok squad announcement, or not squad announcement, alignment camp. Sorry, alignment camp.
It's very important to get the terminology right.
Before we get in, I think some notable exclusions. Let's start with Deon Fourie, the only World Cup winner essentially to be left out. Is it the end of his career? Is that what his exclusion is? You'd assume so.
Yeah. So the main thing is an alignment squad. So, a lot of people are now sort of assuming that these are basically like this is, the next bunch of Springboks. And if you're not part of the squad, you can't be a block, which is not the case. We've seen players be included in the real squads after not being part of alignment camps and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is a squad of players who've gone down to have an alignment camp and to basically be told what it means to be a Springbok, what the culture is, what you need to do, what your expectations are and stuff like that, and what the plan is going to be for the next however many years. These camps used to happen 2-3 times before the first camp. There used to be sessions held overseas. That's what Felix Jones used to do. He used to hold sort of similar camps and online camps with overseas-based players. So the whole point of alignment is to basically say, right, this is the pathway for the box, and this is how you're going to fit into it if you want to be part of it. So whilst technically it doesn't mean that Deon Fourie is not involved, I don't see why he'd be left out if there was plans to use him again. My gut says this is the end for him. I personally think I think why come back? You were the oldest Springbok of all time.
What a way to go out.
Yeah, you ended up captaining them in the final minutes in the World Cup final. After 78 minutes at hooker.
What minute did he come on? What minute did he come on in the final?
He did 70, like
second minute of a World Cup final, goes on to not only win the game but ends as captain.
Yeah.
And wins the World Cup with the Springboks. He's like, he's turning 37 this year. I don't think we're taking a 40-year-old.
The rugby fairy tale of all time, It's up there with Donald coming from a fishing trip and winning the World Cup for New Zealand,
Yeah, true. True, with the triple XS shirt.
Yeah,
But I think we saw last season, essentially, in World Cup year, we're not giving out debuts. But, there was only one debut giving out in 2023, and that was Jean Klein. Other than that, every single person had at least had a cap beforehand. So I think particularly for this Portugal game, I think it's highly likely that there are at least 5 of these players, uncapped players, who will get given a shot. And
controversially,
some notable mentions. Yeah,
Sacha Feinberg-Gomezulu is English qualified. Are we going to do that classic have a cap?
And I think, we saw him included 2 seasons ago. He's barely, he doesn't make the best Stormers side at the moment.
I don't think he makes the best Stormers 23, by the way, not just the 15. He doesn't make the best Stormers 23.
That's tough.
Ahead of who?
Ahead of who?
Ahead of who?
You as a utility back, bro. You can play 10, 15, 12.
Yeah.
He played wing in the winning URC season. kicks at 60 meters. Let's not digress.
Okay,
But
so Dan du Plessis
the
doesn't
point
make your best
is
23.
that, hey,
So I'd say for me, it's
John,
Dan du Plessis. You got to put Dan du Plessis back into that squad. We want now back into that squad.
yeah, he is quality. Okay, but
Hartzenberg's ahead
that's
of.
not the
Yeah, I'm just
conversation. I
saying.
think the point is that he's not winning. Okay, take him versus Hachiva Damani.
Yeah,
He is winning man of the match awards, Damani.
yeah.
He has won, I think, 3 this season, 2 if not 3, versus Ngomezulu, who is been on and off playing.
Mm.
But we saw Ngomezulu already included in a camp previously. Even the likes of Suleiman Hartenberg hasn't been starting a lot, also included in this camp. I think it's just a very long-term goal. I think both of them aren't nearly at a point where they can play Springbok rugby. I don't think they haven't matured yet physically as well. They're
Yeah.
both very young, like 21, 22 years old. They are like learning their craft at the Stormers in a very creative environment, which is ideal. But I think, as you say, I think it's just about. I don't think they'll give him a cap personally. I'll be surprised if they do. Maybe if they are genuinely worried about the England threat, then they will. But I don't see Ngomezulu going to England. Like, surely not.
Well,
Like
so
that,
there was a rumor that we
he
were
would be
talking about
pretty
on the group.
outcast.
Yeah, so the rumor on the group was that apparently he's not particularly happy with the Stormers because he feels he needs game time. He feels that he's been around because he made his debut about 2 seasons ago now, so he's into his 3rd season. And I remember interviewing him, and he said very much, he wants to learn his keep. He wants this before last season, so the season before last. Yeah, so this was 2022, end of 2022 when I interviewed him and spoke to him, and he said it was very much, he wants to learn, and he wants to learn from him, Liebach and the Willem. So I'd love to play with them and learn from these guys. But fast forward, we're now, it'll be 2 years later in sort of the off season now, and I think he now feels that apparently now feels that he's now at a stage of his career where he needs to be starting. And he's not wrong, actually. He's now 23. So I think he's 22 or 23 this year. He needs to be playing quite regularly. And he's also not playing a lot of 10, which is, where he wants to play. So, I'd be very interested to see if he is looking to move, where does he look at? And I think that, there could be that sort of option. If a Premiership side suddenly goes and says, well, we'll take you, then maybe that England prospect does come onto the line. I don't think players generally, I don't think South African players ever dream, none of them dream of playing for another country. Ron Ackerman, for example, who has actually signed to stay on with Gloucester, he was, quite adamant about the fact he wanted to play for the Boks. Jean Claes, it was a dream come true to be able to come back and play for the Boks.
Yes.
So I'd be very surprised if it happens, but I'll be very interested to see what happens in the next 6 months, because I think he is at a point where he needs to decide, is he going to be a bit part player for the Stormers, or can he dislodge a Liebach at 10? Can he dislodge a Dan du Plessis and a Willemse at 12 or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough for fly-offs. We've seen him play mostly fly-off and a bit of 12. And it's a classic. There's only he needs to figure out a bit like Damien Willem. So we didn't know his best position. He made 15 his position, and he can play 10. He can play 12 if need be.
I love my 12.
But he made 15 his position. But I think the point is that Ngomezulu needs to, I think, also kind of grow that identity. And I think what Willemse was afforded at the Stormers was to play in all those different positions with a little at a level that.
I think that's the main thing. He was playing.
He was playing, but I mean, I think he's still young, bro. I think he's still got time. I feel like leaving now.
Right, so everybody, and welcome to Fair Rugby on Forever Sport. It is the second Six Nations clash of the day. Scotland taking on England. It is the Calcutta Cup, and we just had a rousing rendition of Flower of Scotland, echoing around Murrayfield. Bucket list thing for me to go over and one day watch or witness Flower of Scotland in the flesh at Murrayfield. One of the coolest anthems, and I think an absolute iconic thing to go and see. So hopefully one day we'll be able to get over and do that. Would really love to experience it just once. I want to go to Millennium, and you go to Murrayfield. Ironically, I think the Aviva is probably actually down on the list. Probably goes Millennium, Murrayfield, Twickenham, then probably the Aviva, I've already watched games in France, including at Stade de France. So I suppose I have seen that. I haven't seen France play in Stade de France, but I have seen France play in France. So, but anyway, we have got the Calcutta Cup, and Scotland looking to make it 4 in a row if they were to win today, and I think they can do it. So let's go do this, shall we? The home side, it is Pierce Schoolman, George Turner, Xander Ferguson, Grant Gilchrist, Scott Cummings in that tight 5. The back row featuring Jamie Ritchie, Rory Dodge, and Jack Dempsey. Halfback pairing of Ben White next to co-captain Finn Ruskell, Duan van der Merwe, and Carl Steyn. The 2 wings in the midfield. The Hugh Pilato combination of Sienna Tubeloto and Hugh Jones. Blake Kinghorn back on the side at 15. Off the bench, it'll be Ewan Ashburn, Alec Hepburn, Elliot Miller-Mills as your third front row, backed up by Sam Skinner and Andy Christie. Then got George Horn, Ben Healy, and Cameron Redpath. For England, it is Genge, Jamie George, Dan Cole in the front row, Mario Todio, Ollie Chestham in that second row, a back row of Ethan Root, Sam Mandel, and Ben Earl. A lot of continuity with the pack, except for the props swapping in here. Danny Kerr comes to the side, will partner George Ford, Elliot Day, Tommy Freeman, the 2 wings. Ollie Lawrence next to Steny Slade, George Burbank getting a start at full back. Off the bench, it will be Theo Dan, Will Stewart, George Martin, Chandler Cunningham himself, Ben Spencer, Finn Smith, and Emmanuel Ferry-Wabosa. The referee today will be Andrew Brace from Ireland. And we are just ready to get going. Scotland will be playing right to left. They will be receiving kickoff. The whistle has blown and the Calcutta Cup is officially underway. They go pretty short in and go pretty central as well. It's an early touch for Blake Kinghorn, who's taken it brilliantly out there. And he's got the offload away to Pilato. What a start that is for Scotland. Right into the thick of things already. And it's good hands, yeah, good great hands on Finn Russell to Blake Kinghorn. And that's a horrible pass from Blake Kinghorn. It's gone out for 8th line out. Well, bit of a frantic start, but what do we think, people? Who are we backing today? I would really like to see Scotland do it again. Big Scotland fan, and yeah, I think it's for me. It's always anyone but England type of attitude. So I'm all in for Scotland, and hopefully we're going to see a really good game. Quick lineup there from Jamie George going to the top there. George Ford going to Ollie Lawrence, and Ben. It's trying to work out who was there. Now George Ford goes to the boot. Lifted high in the air, Ben White underneath it. Won't have the height here, but and it's been spilled by Furbank, I think it was. Picks up and goes. No, in fact, it's not. It was actually Tommy Freeman who actually came away with it, and eventually bounds into touch, so it will be a Scotland line-out. So quick pace start here in this opening minute. But get your score predictions into the comments. Please do vote on the poll. Let me know who you're backing to win the game as Gregor Townsend watches on. And I'll be very interested. I just think Scotland could start well. Yeah, I think they could actually put in quite a big dominant performance. Yeah, I think England are there for taking. I think Scotland are a side that have got it in them to really up the ante, and then they've got it really in them to then kind of throw it away. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what sort of Scotland we see today. But turnover ball here, and Freeman will be taken down by Jones. They're trying to pile him up towards the left-hand touchline. They managed to keep him in though. England into 22. Danny Kerr goes down the right-hand side. Deft touch for Ben Earl. Now goes short to Ollie Chestham. And that's a horrible knock on there from England. We'll have our first scrum of the day inside the 22 for Scotland. And we'll get to see what Xander Ferguson and Pierce Schoolman can do versus Ellis Genge and Dan Cole. Yeah, a bit of a weird one there from Henry Slade. He's just trying to sort of park the pass along. It wasn't the best pass from him to him, so in his defense, but probably should have done it better than that. Right, so Saturday player reckons Scotland by 10 points today. I'd like to see it. I just think, yeah, I want to see Scotland starting taking that step up. They're ranked 5th in the world, and I think that they're a side that I think can get better. I think they can be a genuine top 4 side in the world. I don't see why they can't compete with the New Zealand, France, Ireland, South Africans. Ironically, Jesse Creel gave an interview the other day and said that the Springboks apparently found Scotland the toughest team to play against in the World Cup. A very different looking Pierre Schoeman, by the way. He's now grown out the beard and he's cut his hair. So he's gone from having no beard and long hair to having very short hair with a beard. Looks a completely different man as Pierre Schoeman, who I think is going to be a British and Irish Lion next year. Big shot. What do you reckon? I think he's genuinely. I think he'll make it. I think Andrew Porter and he are probably the leading props for me to go as at loose head. Free kick there for England. So issued a scrum time there. Not particularly happy is George Turner. And they've offered a scrum here, England, so it'll just be a change of ball here. So Xander Ferguson needs to get this right. Up against Ellis Genge. All right, there we go. We do have a scrum. Looks like a pretty decent hit, actually. Pierre Schoeman looks to be doing good work, as is Dan Ferguson, but England do use it. Danny Kerr looking for options. Going to George Ford. George Ford. Get it to great line right there. Danny, oh my goodness, what a try that is. And Furbank into the starting lineup. Over he goes. England with the perfect start of the back of the scrum. That's a training ground move, and Steve Borthwick will be a very, very happy coach watching that. Look at the celebrations coming from the bench. I'll tell you what, that was very impressive. Straight off the training ground. In just the seventh game, George Furbank grabbed his first international try, but that was a properly well executed move. It was a good scrum from Scotland, but then look at the defence here. There's so many options there. Finn Russell gets drawn in, and they just don't know where to go, and Hugh Jones doesn't manage to get close enough to his man. It's just running on the shoulders here, really. Yeah, Ben White and Hugh Jones not able to get there. So really, really good training ground move that is from England. What a start that is. First attacking set piece and over they go. You couldn't coach much better off the back of the coaching manual. And George Ford will now have the opportunity to add the extras. Well, grey hairs coming into George Ford. I suppose anything player will do that to you. What a start that is for England. I was saying that I think Scotland start well. They can probably pile a big one. Yeah, all of a sudden England are ahead. And you can just see the indecision there from Hugh Jones a little bit. He had too many players to try and mark. They've done such a good wraparound. They have so many options, and you can see the frustration from doing front of over. That's just hot knife through butter stuff from England. And Scotland behind, 7 points to 0 in the 7th minute. Deep restart though. Goes straight to Danny Kerr's going to have time to try and find a clearance. We'll look for touch. And it'll be a Scotland line on the 10-metre line. Right, now Scotland need to respond, yeah. Right, that's interesting. So Xander Ferguson has been replaced here on an HIA. That again will be the scrum, so the gum guard that they wear. We saw Scott Barrett talk about the fact that he thinks it's ridiculous, these gum guards that have impact detection. I think it's a weird thing to be hacked that people are using technology to try and keep you safe. But anyway, and that's not about, oh, rugby's gone soft, because if you think rugby's gone soft, you're not paying attention. The collisions are harder than ever. The physicality is greater than ever. So we need to find ways of continuously keeping people players safe and player welfare, whilst we can ensure that the game remains nice physical, which it really is these days. So, but it's interesting because obviously you can see like the frustration with Xander Ferguson because he feels fine. He feels it hasn't really had a big of an impact. But there's obviously been a signal that's come from the gum guard saying no. And it's just a check. He goes back and he goes and checks. It's a knock on there from Scotland. That's really poor from them. It's just a check to go see if you're all good, then you can come back on. But rather be safe than sorry, really. You can just see caught on the ball there was Carl Steyn and then losing it forward. So solid start here from England. Very, very scrappy start here so far from Scotland. Right, so England scrum. Let's see what they can cook up for this one. Last one they had they cooked up a try, so it's a pretty big scrum, and they get the penalty for it to England. I think it's on Dan Cole's side. No, it's Miller Mills. But it's Ellis Genge who's won that. So Xander Ferguson's gone off, and they immediately lose the scrum penalty to Scotland. So that doesn't bode well. They need to try and get Xander Ferguson back onto the park as soon as possible. That's a better view there, right? So Miller Mills versus Ellis Genge. I think Miller Mills is doing quite well there, actually. Then just loses its footing. So I don't think he should be too upset about that. Yeah, I don't think he's done too badly there as Miller Mills. Right, look at the running more here. England at the back of the line out. Jamie George, being the captain, hands on it. Use it at the core. Danny Kerr's going to look to use it now. Goes to Lawrence. And that's pretty poor. And that's going to be a knock on. So it'll be a turnover ball. You have Scotland. No. Right, so no advantage there. And it'll be a scrum to Scotland now. So Miller Mills will have an immediate opportunity to try and make up for that scrum penalty he's just conceded. Right, now Scotland with the scrum. So let's see if they can try and find a bit of scrum ascendancy or at least get some ball in hand and start going through the motions here a bit. Now, free kick. And Finn Russell immediately wants the ball. I think he'll just kick this downfield. I think he'll want to go play a bit of rugby in England's half. So he's supposed to play on the left-hand side there. It's an intelligent kick that from Finn Russell. Furbank's had to go back. Or Freeman, rather. Now it's Furbank. Right, Blake Kinghorn now. Looking to run himself. Tackle by Dan Cole. Good work there from Blake Kinghorn. And from Dan Cole, rather. It was a good tackle. Oh, that's a horrible pass. And the ball's come loose here. And it's eventually been picked up. I think that's by Henry Slade. So turnover ball here from England. Really sloppy from Scotland at the moment. Now George Ford, that's a horrible pass. And there's a knock on there from Scotland. Well, from England, so it'll be a scrum for Scotland. Ollie Lawrence not managed to hold on. Horrible pass that. Yeah, good to see. Maybe a bit wet there, George Ford, who's a fantastic distributor. Not his best pass. Right, so a bit of a sloppy start so far from the home side, which is not what you expect, especially playing at home, but tough conditions, I think, at the moment, and I think they're struggling to adjust, which is no real excuse given the fact that they're their home side. So there's anyway that should be used to the cold wetness of Scotland. It should be the Scots. But another set piece here, an opportunity for them to get some front foot ball. I just don't think I really had an opportunity. They had a really nice start. A nice little early cameo there from Blair Kinghorn, nice offload to Superlatu. And since then, however, it's been one-way traffic, and it's been the team in white in England who have dominated proceedings since. And it's a free kick there for Scotland. England pushing before the ball comes in. Right, and lifts it high in the air. This Finn Russell to make this contestable. Tupolotto's over there. Freeman's hammered in the tackle. I think it's by George Turner. So England back inside their own half. Get his Genge. Hugh Jones making that tackle. Danny Kerr's going to go to the butcher. It's continuing contestable. Blake Kinghorn comes in. Blake Kinghorn wants it. It comes off of Blake Kinghorn, but falls into the hands. Oh, that's a huge carry. That's a great carry from Ethan Roots. Now ball kick over the top from George Ford. It could be too far. No, he managed to keep it in as Carl stayed and throws it inside to Finn Russell. Russell kicks it downfield. Fielded by George Ford. He points to the air. And Freeman will give chase. Blake Kinghorn, well, he doesn't get there first, and it goes back to Mario Tojes, but England winning all the small battles at the moment. Ball available for Danny Kerr. Goes to Genge, George Ford. Ball pops it up to Ollie Lawrence. Now Roots. Miller Mills up there nice and quickly. And a penalty advantage here for England. Now Ford. In behind to Slade. Slade. Well read by Finn Russell. Good tackle on Ben Earl. He told you to Ford, looking to try and chip and chase himself. And Blake Kinghorn as well, but it was a penalty advantage, so they'll go back for the penalty. Interesting decision here from England. I think they'll probably take the points here, to be honest. Yeah, not a lot to play at ball, Miller Mills, so not had a good time so far since he come on. So Jamie George and George Ford having a bit of a George discussion there. I think they'll look for the point for the polls. Yeah, just there comes the kick into you. Take the 3 points here and notch up 10 points in the first 15 minutes. Very, very sloppy so far from Scotland. George Ford, he's a very good goal kicker. Will have to be doing a lot more this season with no Owen Farrell, who's the usual goal kicker for England, and pops that over, no issue at all. And England add 3 points to their total. Brave shout. An England fan winding up the Scots, asking, basically pointing to his ears and saying, "Where's the noise now?" Early days, early days. But definitely the back foot here of Scotland. Right, so Xander Ferguson's past the HIA. Looks like he'll be coming back on. Ball over the top. And it's done very well there initially by Jamie Ridgely, which is trying to tap it back, but eventually it's now falling back to Jamie George. Turnover ball, so just can't get anything right at the moment, can Scotland. But that's a big opportunity. It's a mistake from Danny Kerr. Kicks straight into touch, and Scotland will have another opportunity at the line in the same place. That's a bit of well, but it's still a bit of a messy line, and eventually falls back to Johan van der Merwe, his first touch of the day, and the ball's ripped in the tackle. So cheap as me. I don't think I've seen Scotland play this poorly in an opening 16 minutes in a number of years, and they can see the penalty for good measure as well. This is dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I just cannot do anything right at the moment. It's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre. %68% possession for England. I mean, that shows your story. Oh, that's pretty poor from England there. And it's turnover ball here for Scotland. Good work there from Jack Dempsey to dive on the ball. Knock on advantage. Finn Russell just goes to the boot. Nothing much on. 3-minute back up there. He's going to kick it in chase. Furbank will give chase. And it's swirling, and Furbank is uncontested there. Ben White, but the offload comes, and now it's been knocked backwards apparently. But Jack Dempsey once again is there to win the ball on the ground. So turnover ball here, the knock-on advantage here for Scotland. Now Grant Gilchrist trying to get things back on the front foot here of Scotland. Someone needs to try and step up here and make something happen. Finn Russell goes flat and lost it forward. And they'll go back for the original knock-on, I think. This is, as I said, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's just this is not the Scotland we know. You know, not the Scotland we know at all. Da, 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 da. Right, so Scotland scrum, yeah, an opportunity. I think I'm trying to work it out. Xander Ferguson's back on the park, so that'll hopefully help them shore up the scrum. A scrum penalty would be really nice, but they don't get it. They go flat there to Tupolotto. Pops up to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones on space. Has he got the pace? Into the 22 he goes. Pops it up to Duran van der Merwe. Duran van der Merwe solves the dummy. Goes over himself. Oh, there it is. Scotland hit back. They needed that. They really, really did need that. And Duran van der Merwe, the man who can't stop scoring, is the man that creates the moment. Well, it's just the Tupolotto combination. Tupolotto putting in Hugh Jones, popping it up to Duran van der Merwe. Good support play for him. Bang, straight in the middle there. Hugh Jones has to put the hammer down, and that's what draws in the two players. Then pops up Duran van der Merwe. He had the option of cast down to his left. I even saw the dummy, and then over he goes. Big moment that for Scotland. Huge moment, in fact. First opportunity really for them as well, and they better count. That's a bit better. Right, now Finn Russell. Yeah, it's a nice kick. Very nice kick from him. Straight down the middle. And 10 points to 7. Game on after 20 minutes. Yeah, look at the line there from Hugh Jones. Yeah, a bit of a muted celebration there for Gregor Towns. I think he'd be pretty pissed off with how he's seen from his team so far. But that's got a nice bit of moments. A good take there from Grant Gilchrist off the kickoff as well. And it has to be a penalty. It has to be a penalty. It is a penalty. So that's a free turnover ball there for Scott. Well, free opportunity for them to clear the line, get into the England half, and go again. Try and shift a bit of momentum. Right, Finn Russell finds touch. I'm telling you, I'm waiting for to get the Sage measurement so you know exactly how far that kick was. We're not getting it, apparently. 50% of the action so far is taking place between the halfway line and the Scotland 22. So Scotland needs a bit more field possession inside England territory. So George Turner, ball in hand. Scotland scored off a scrum set piece, as did England. So what can they conjure up at the line? They go to the front of the line out. To Scott Cummings. Now Hupilotto. Hupilotto just hammering it up. Ben White wanting quick ball. Oh, penalty for England. And George Turner can't believe it. I'm inclined to believe him. I'm not entirely sure how England players are allowed to be holding this. Nobody seemed to be supporting their body weight. And you can see Finn Russell was asking the question. Yeah, he's not particularly happy with that call. Right, I want to see, have a look at this. So George Ford goes down. But George Ford hasn't rolled away. And Underhill's not supporting his body. I think that's a tough call. I think George Ford is lying at the bottom of that ruck, and I'm not entirely sure why he's not been blown for not rolling away. Big early shove there, but England have managed to fracture over the maul. Come away with the ball there as Ben Earl. And they've managed to bundle them over. So good Scotland defence there. No, a bit of a ref cam going over there. Right, you go to the front of the line. Good take that from Scott Cummings. Going to the rolling more here, Scotland. 25 minutes left of the half played. Slowly going into this game now, the home side. And the ball's fractured a little bit over here. Not quite sure what's going on. Can't really see. Ben White's being played there, but the ball is available for Scotland. Xander Ferguson going nice and low. That would actually be illegal in the Varsity Cup, fun fact. Ben White, then looking to find touch. That's not a bad clearance at all. That'll be about a 10-meter line, so I think it's a bit harsh. But a decent clearance there from Scotland. Under a lot of pressure at the moment, and just need to start slowing things down a little bit, getting the small things right. David George with the line out. Good take them while you're chasing. Right, trying to kick his Gage. Wasn't really expecting it. Trying to build a bit of steam. Jamie George now. Dempsey making the tackle with assistance from Grant Gilchrist, but speaking of the players, Danny Kay, inside ball there to Chestham. Ball and all tackle there from Rory Dodge. Important tackle that. Now Genge. And George Ford hit on the game line. That's a really good tackle that from Pierre Schoeman. Ball's available there. Now chipping dab over the bottom in behind by Elliot Daly. And I think he's trying to throw it off from Carl Steyn to win the line out. And unsuccessfully. There's the right option here from Elliot Daly. Nobody in behind. So just chips at him. Carl Steyn going all the way back. And Elliot Daly reckons he's managed to get there. Nah, ball's already out. Ball's eventually available here from Scotland. And you can see how West is by the grass all attached to the boots at the moment. They're out to Ben White. That's not a bad clearance from him. But Scotland's under a lot of pressure here. Right, Jamie George. Goes to the front of the line up there. Now, Danny Kerr. Lawrence back to forward. Forward, and the angle there was Freeman. Now turn the ball from Scotland, but it's left behind us. John Van der Merwe, picked up by Carl Steyn. The South African ball. Edge get down the road, actually. Went to Trinity House in Johannesburg. Ball goes all the way back to Finn Russell. Not too many options, so he just sort of hacks it downfield. And further back, I think this is Freeman. Blake Kingle there, uncontested there. Runs into Ollie Lawrence, who stands up well to the tackle. Now, Pierre Schoolman, we haven't seen him carry the ball too much. Little show and go by Finn Russell, but he's lost it forward, trying to get he shifted the ball to one hand to try and get the offload away. And it was read well by one of the England defenders. Not sure who it was. Turnover ball here for England, though. Here's Genge, those are to George Ford. George Ford. Pretty direct goes Ollie Lawrence. Freeman goes to scrum off there. Genge just hit hard in the tackle. Ball comes available to Danny Kerr. Pops it up to Ford. Pops it up to Mario Toges. A quite a quiet game so far. Decent carry from him. Ball's available for Danny Kerr, but slow ball here. Now it is Genge. Goes to Ford. Ah, that's horrible. Turnover ball here. Right, Duran van der Merwe. Duran van der Merwe's got the pace. Look at the pace of Duran van der Merwe. He's still going. He's going all the way. Goodness me, that is a finish and a half from Duran van der Merwe, who has to be a little bit extra and puts in a bit of a TV dive. But goodness me, that is proper pace from Duran van der Merwe. What a try that is. He's got a second. Scotland take the lead against the run of play. And I'll tell you what, people are still doubting this guy, and I'm not quite sure what there is to doubt. Look at that. Look at the turnover ball. Literally comes off the head. One pass. Bjorn van der Merwe goes bang. Gets it in and around. I think it's Ben Earl. And then look at the pace he has. Jeepers me. Look at the pace. Ah, jeepers me. That's good. Well, 12 points to 10. They don't deserve it, Scotland, but they've got it. And the great kick from Finn Russell as well. Right, 14 points to 10. Who would have thought? Scotland outplayed and yet leading. Little chip over the top. That was a bit of a strange decision. And Blake King was going to return the favour. I think I have to retreat back here is Ford. I think it's Elliot Daly next to him. Right, he's going to put in the air for Elliot Daly to chase. And it's well taken there from Carl Stady. Throws away Jamie George. As Gage took exception to that. Scotland now playing with a bit of confidence all of a sudden. Long pass of Finn Russell to Hugh Jones. Steps inside. Spins away from one as well. Still going to Hugh Jones. Puts it to the boot. Dylan van der Merwe's coming through. Dylan van der Merwe kicked it ahead. Oh, I'll tell you what. If that had gone past, he could have been in for his hat-trick. Look at the wry smile on his face. Yeah, I think, I'll tell you what, he's so unlucky there. He kicks it right into, I think it's George Ford. Hugh Jones, what a little player that is. He's going to be chasing that hat-trick all day, Dylan van der Merwe. What a try-scoring record he has at international level. 28 years old. I think he'll be a British National line again next season. Or next year. Yeah, they've turned it around again in Scotland. Oh, still England. So Scotland on the front foot, into the 22 they go. I think that's now 25 tries, I think, for Dylan van der Merwe in 36 games or 37 games. That's a mental return. Penalty advantage here. Blair Kinghorn goes to the cross kick towards Dylan van der Merwe, who's out. Go back for the penalty. And I'm Finn Russell. I'm saying thank you very much. Right in front of the poll. Take the points. Take the points. You're lucky to be ahead. And ride your luck for a bit. I think he's having a chat with the referee while this is waiting for his kicking tee. So he's going to take 3 points here as Finn Russell. Well, from 7-0 down to 10-0 down to 17-10 in the space of about 15 minutes. That's a very, very big swing. Very frustrating time for England. The question is, where's the character? Can they come back? 5 minutes left. I think if Scotland were to score another try or even another penalty, I think England would be quite despondent at half time. They need to hit back if they are to try and stay at this game. It's almost a very good take from Grant Gilchrist, but it's gone straight through his hands, and Mario Toja grabs it. So, in fact, a terrible take from Grant Gilchrist. It looked almost like he wasn't impeded, but anyway. Get his gains now, looking to get England on the front foot. Good work from them to turn the ball over. Now, flat pass that coming from Furbank. Big counter-back coming there from Scotland, but it's eventually used. Mario Toja. Driven backwards. Good tackle. That's Danny Ferguson working really, really well. Danny Kerr going back to George Ford in the pocket. It takes a bit of time. Well, I'm going to read you my message to my group, and that is George Ford is class. That was so easy. That is such an effortless way of getting back into the game. Just understand he doesn't have momentum, no pressure on him, just takes a moment, gathers himself, takes the 3. That is so good from George Ford. Now it's 4 points, isn't it? And he gets a bit of momentum back. It does, however, mean it's Scotland back in England 22, so Danny Kerr is going to clear this out now. I think he'll go through one more phase. That goes to Ollie Chesham. Good light drive from Ollie Chesham, almost even the 22. Yeah, inside is the call, so Danny Kerr can go to touch. That's good clearance from Danny Kerr. Very, very good clearance from Danny Kerr. Yeah, that's really, really good work from George Ford. Now, Port for Scotland, if they want to try and capitalise this, then they need to try and hit back here. Ball over the top to Dempsey. Looking for the rolling more here, Scotland. I think they need to use it. They do use it. George Turner goes to... Now, Deepers, tell you what, that's definitely running it straight there from Tupolotto. Nice carry from him. Then one goes to Pierre Schoeman. There's the Pierre Schoeman we know. Loves to have ball in hand. Now Tupolotto to Hugh Jones. Good hands, good hands. Blair Kinghorn. Needs a bit of support. Jamie Ritchie's there. Almost stealing off there, I think, from Jamie Ritchie. Got really low there. Bit of a poor pass that. And it's a turnover from Henry Slade. It's a long chase back now for Carl Stade. He's done really well there as Carl Stade. And good tracking back from his teammates. Minute and a half left in the half. I think Scotland just need to get into... Right, forward. This is in the air for... I think it's Ollie Lawrence. I think it's Henry Slade to chase. Right against the touchline. And he will just mark it. Yeah, I think it's a good move from Russell. Just slow things down. There's a minute left on the clock. Very, very interesting half. It's not been particularly free-flowing. It's not been the best rugby from the teams, but entertaining. Can't say it's not been entertaining. It's been moments, really. I mean, all three tries have come from, well, 2 tries from set piece and 1 try against the run of play. Apart from that, it's been quite messy, almost sort of in between that. So 30 seconds left. Can England conjure up something from the 10-meter line? A while to get going here. Oh, there's Gerald Butler watching on. Big Scotland rugby fan. England taking a while to get to the line out. 30 seconds left. The clock does tick down. Probably the final player of the half. And it's contested, but poorly. So Tojic comes down with it. Same more. And then he uses it, does Ben Earl. Slightly isolated. Rory Dodge doing well there to tackle. Available for Danny Kerr. 5 seconds left. It is Genge. And the clock officially turns red. Now forward. Almost the intercept there from Finn Russell, but Ollie Lawrence makes a few yards. Ethan Roots now. Danny Kerr's left that behind. Turnover ball. It'll be a knock on, and that'll be half time, I think. Knock on, half time. Right, well, there we go. Half-time score, 17 points to 13. It wasn't pretty for Scotland, and they were outplayed for a lot of that half, but they're going with the lead. Lucky lead, and I think Gregor Townsend will be telling them exactly how lucky they are. People will see you very, very shortly after the break, so please do not go away. In the meantime, you can go listen to myself and Dan for the podcast earlier this week, and we'll see you guys after half time. Right, and we are back. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Between Two Fans. We can officially start with the name, which is always a good start. And we are joined with your host, the one fan, Stevie P, the other fan, Mr. Dan Skulls. Dan, how are you?
I'm phenomenal, Stevie. It's feels the sporting world actually might have slowed down for a second, but there's still a hell of a lot to cover. So I'm as happy as ever.
Yeah, no, the nice thing is we're now kind of into that season where like it's hectic, but because it's more like it's sort of stuff happening every day now as well. It's not just necessarily like one like Super Saturday, Super Sunday. It's just sport everywhere at the moment. And if you're a Formula One fan, for example, that's also about to start happening. So things are about to start ramping up. Coming up in the show tonight, however, we'll be discussing a lot of rugby. We had the URC back this past weekend. We had a Springbok squad or an alignment camp group, if you want to be very specific, come out. We also got Six Nations back this coming weekend. We're going to be talking about some cricket. We're going to be talking about baseball and whether England can stage a comeback against India in the next test, which starts on Friday. We're going to be talking about the Proteas test loss against New Zealand, which some of us did predict on, and what it means going forward. And then we're going to wrap up the show with a bit of Premier League. Manchester City kicking off in like half an hour, actually. So we'll be interested to see how that goes. Dan, as a Liverpool fan, is obviously going to watch that with quite a keen eye, given the fact that they did falter this last weekend. But anyway, we are going to get straight into it. Dan, should we talk a bit about some rugby and the fact that
well, Stevie, you're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead. We've got our predictions from last week.
Because my
guts don't try to scoot past this.
I don't think I've done very well here.
So if you're new around here, every week Steve and I are predicting three different predictions of sports games, and whoever gets more of the predictions right gets a, I guess, weekly point. Stevie is up 2-0. To be fair, so I needed to stage a bit of a comeback, and let's see how that went. First off was the Proteas versus New Zealand game. As you would know, the Proteas went on to lose that by 7 wickets. With Kane Williamson being man of the match. No, not man of the match. Well, O'Rourke was man of the match, but Kane Williamson player of the series, showing his class. We'll get into the game specifics, but our predictions were Stevie went for the draw, which, to be fair, looked on the cards at a point, and I said a losing margin by 150. I don't know why I went for runs when we batted first, but we move. And New Zealand won by 7 wickets. So I'm going to say 150 runs is closer to 7 wickets than a draw is, Stevie. So I'm going to take that one because at least I had the loss. I did like the draw prediction. I felt pretty safe going into day 5 because there was either going to be a win or loss. But flip to, or was it day 4, the final day? It was day 4.
Day 5.
Get to day 5.
No, so it was, we crumbled. Was the problem?
Yeah, a draw. You needed some rain there. But anyway, so 1-0 to me. Premier League, we went for City versus Chelsea. The result was 1-1. Chelsea breaking the City winning run of I think 14 games, I believe. Leaving them with a couple fewer points than they would have liked, but rescuing one at the end. Stevie, your prediction was 4-0. Mine was 3-1, and I'm going to go ahead and give myself another point there because I think I'm a little bit closer. I mean, what are we going to do?
We both got the result wrong.
Yeah, but who was the closer of the two?
Yeah,
there can only be one.
Yeah, that's ballsy. Ballsy.
Well, if you want to leave that one, you can leave that one because then we'll get into the Lions versus Bulls. Bulls going on to win that game, 25 points to 10. Stevie, your prediction was Lions by 5. Mine was Bulls by 4. So in which case, I got all, I got 2 of the 3 predictions right. Unfortunately, my good sir, you got none of them. So it's 2-1.
2-1, eh?
And I'm finally on the scoreboard. No longer the donut. but yeah, stay tuned for our next week's prediction at the end of this episode. We'll be covering the Arsenal versus Newcastle game, the India versus England fourth test, as well as the Calcutta Cup, Scotland versus England. Stevie, let's chat rugby.
Yeah, interesting weekend. URC back, two local derbies. Before we even talk about the match, we talk about the crowds. 25,000 people
Phenomenal.
at Emirates Airline Park, and I think about 30,000 or something along those lines at Kings Park. So another weekend of almost 25, 30,000 fans in stadiums, and especially for S Park, it's very impressive. The fans are back in stadiums in a big way. Rugby is alive and well down here, isn't it?
All they had to do was offer the students free beer, and then the whole of Joburg went to the game, or the whole, but about 10 times more than they come to expect. But hopefully it means, because it seems to be the I guess the Sharks to extent, but the Lions seem to be the last of the clubs that haven't really been able to galvanize the fan base. But now that I guess fixtures are starting to change up, I hope the fans come back.
And they're playing decent rugby at all, which does help. You're not going there just to watch them getting absolutely mauled every single time. They're actually semi-competitive at the moment, which makes for a nice change. But in terms of the actual match, not the greatest match from the Lions. Not sure I appreciate Jake White, the comments he made about the Lions, and basically inferring the Lions don't play any rugby, we're not particularly dangerous, and then went back to the last game and said, well, you take away the moment of individual brilliance from Snare and Nahamba, and this counter-attack try and this moment, and they're not that great. And you're going, okay, Jake, so you take away the good rugby and there wasn't any good rugby. Like, they got their first try off a moment of brilliance from Ambrose Appear. So that's fine. That's nice attacking rugby. But as soon as Nahamba does it, that's just a freak moment. But anyway, a frustrating day I felt for the Lions. Now, don't even tell me down on Jake White. Every single time I start to think, maybe he's just mellowed a bit. He just comes back with some clangers.
Yeah, I think he's just, I think when people get over, they just speak their mind a bit more, and he wants to say what he wants to say, and he doesn't really care anymore. Which on one hand is quite funny, but he can come across as a bit grumpy nowadays. But I mean, Springbok rugby is better for having him in the system. I still love him. He's a Springbok winning coach. But yeah, no, a great game. Tries from Kanan Moody, Akafana Mava, Marcel Kutsia, and David Creel with an absolute superhero dive over your boy.
Jason Torres has been watching that back for a while now and not enjoying what he's seeing.
To be fair, when I saw it was him and Ambrose Papier, I kind of thought Ambrose Papier would be the one to get there with this pace. But jeepers, did he do well to get just up? Faloza didn't see it. Chip and chase, got to defend it, ushering the ball back over the line, waiting to dot it down. He just superhero dives over his shoulder, grabs the ball, dots it down. Unreal. And then a single try from Kieran Horn, ending 10 points to 25.
Yeah, I don't think a scoreline that necessarily affected the game. I thought the Lions had that try disallowed early in the second half, and I thought both teams were one try away from actually being able to kick onto into second gear. And I think if that Lions try had stood, I think they could have gone on to build a bit of momentum. And similarly, I think the fact that it was ruled out and then the Bulls scored shortly after, that I think was just such a big swing.
It was very low scoring for most of the match.
Yeah,
for most of the match,
take away. No, it was never. I don't think it was going to be a blowout. And I said, I think that David Creel try at the end was a bit of pretty sloppy at the end. And you don't concede that try, and it finishes, sort of 20 points to 10 or 18 points to 10, and it's relatively low scoring. But I was frustrated at the Lions. I mean, I do think that they were a bit conservative at times. I think frustrating. So I would like to have seen them throw a bit more caution to the wind and try have a go. I don't think they're miles behind this Bulls side, and I think that I generally still believe that they can beat this this Bulls side. And I think that they're the player for player. I think they're starting to feel that they can contend with the player in front of them. I think that's the main thing. You know, you no longer have that sort of imposter syndrome where you look up at the player opposite you and feel that there's this massive gulf of quality. We'll talk about the Springbok squad, but I think them being in those alignment camps will also sit there thinking, well, actually, cool, I could also be a Springbok. You know, I'm playing against World Cup winners, but I'm also being seen as a future Springbok. Therefore, you know, I'm in the same sort of quality as these guys. So hopefully that will give a lot of confidence to what is a pretty strong Lions contingent in that box squad. But your boys looked pretty good this weekend. Sharks similarly looked pretty tame, to be honest. They continue to just look like a very average rugby side.
Yeah, ending 25 point Stormers, 21 Sharks. I mean, a couple a late try by Bongi Mbunambi, but 3 tries apiece. Dweba rounding Apalele Fassi on
That
the
was
outside.
phenomenal. A little shimmy as well, dude. That killed me.
Oh, it was so good. It was so, and I mean, even if you ran straight, I don't think Fassi was stopping him.
There's no chance Fassi was ever stopping Joseph Dweba. Like Joseph Dweba at full force.
Like definition of a cannonball.
Yeah, no.
So you're saying?
There's one thing that is we all know Joseph Dweba struggled line-wise, but if there's one thing that you cannot pay me enough to do, is to try and tackle Joseph Dweba at full flight, because he is an absolute monster with ball in hand. So I don't think he needed to step.
Has some gas as well.
No, he's not slow.
Yeah,
so I think maybe that was just a bit of a flex to the Bok coaches to say, hey, I'm not just a physical presence. I've got a bit of gas, got a bit of a step here. You know, I can jawl around the park.
Yeah. No, love that from him. Then a second try from Paul de Vet, a lovely little chip and chase from Warren Gelant, then offload to de Vet, who goes under. Ben Loader also going down in the corner. And then the 3 tries from the Sharks being Oxenchair, Fenton, and good old Bongs crashing over. So, I mean, great. Also, kicking from Ngomazulu, unreal. To be fair,
he's a good goal kicker.
Absolutely slotting them from distance, from the corner. That's the one thing that man has got. But excited. I mean, the Stormers, it was a very different team. You know, think of a centre partnership.
Very young side.
Ngomazulu and Hartenberg at 12-13.
Not to mention,
that's a hell of a test for them. Yeah.
I mean, he was playing Varsity Cup a year ago.
It was a very... Yeah. He's a Staley's boy, no?
Yeah, literally, guys. So I was doing the Varsity Cup Watchalong last night, and they've signed John Mostert from the Bulls. And they were saying, you know what, they had to find a new fly half because Yuri Mattia is now contracted with the province. So it goes to show you, a year ago he was playing Varsity Cup. A year later he's playing URC. So the Varsity Cup continues to be a genuine pipeline straight into the top levels of professional rugby.
It's so good. I mean, it's probably the equivalent of what's below the Currie Cup, but it's like kind of the Premiership division there. Like that's kind of, I'm sure they can compete. Maybe not always physically, but I mean, the amount of players that go through there. I think what's great about it is that it's not seen like knowing that even if you don't get coming out of school, get a club contract.
Yeah, go to Varsity.
Fully like within your reach to go on and still become a professional by going to a university that plays in the Varsity Cup. Yeah,
you know, he is probably the biggest success story. You know, just wasn't a big rugby player. Played at Res Rugby. UJ said, "Come start training with us." Played a couple of Varsity Cup games. Suddenly played lighting up the things. Lions say, "Well, let's give it a chance." 2 years later, he's the breakthrough player of the world. 3 years later, he's banned. Anyway,
not such a pretty ending.
But, so he's back. And had a couple of nice moments this weekend. I'll tell you what, though. I feel vindicated, and I think half the country feels vindicated because Sharks have gone with Currie Bosch week in, week out. Sia Masuku was signed from the Cheetahs after having a phenomenal season, has not played a single minute. This past weekend played, I think 20 minutes of that, and the Sharks looked a different side with him on the field. And I don't understand how a brains trust like the Sharks have taken, 5 months into the season to give this guy a go.
Yeah, it's weird. It's such a clear place that they need to focus on. Like, I think Bosch can, do a job on the fringes. I think he's kind of been figured out, I feel. Like, I'm surprised that he's still playing so much rugby in South Africa. He almost just doesn't suit the South African game. He could go lots of places around the world and be very successful, I think, at club competition. But in South Africa, it really doesn't suit him. And, like, obviously, he's got an amazing boot. But Masuka, like, as you said, the talent that he showed in that Cheetahs jersey, and then you go and sign him thinking, okay, they're making an effort to, taking a risk on this guy to come into the 10 jersey and then go with the repeated process. And it's clear. I mean, I think one of the biggest downfalls, and we can, chat about their potential.
Back for the second half. Scotland 17, England 10, but not convincing from either team, to be honest. I'd say Scotland very lucky to be ahead, but at the same time, I don't think England have been phenomenal. Scored one good try at the back of a really good set move, and then they've had 2 penalties, so they've not been phenomenal. So it's kind of a bit of a side of who least deserves the lead, but I think it would have been harsh words. And big change this, by the way. Tuipulotu, who had some strapping, obviously picked up an issue in the first half, wanted to get up there and see if he could still continue as run on, and obviously very much can't. So there goes Tuipulotu. So early change for Scotland. We'll see Cameron Redpath come on in the centres. And Tuipulotu was looking pretty good, and that combination as well, so important. So that's a big loss for Scotland, who are on the front foot here, by the way, at the back of the line out. Hugh Jones, Finn Russell chip over the top there. And might go too far, or it might be absolutely perfect. My goodness, that is Finn Russell at his best. Little chip over the top. It's difficult to see what kind of angle it's going at, and he's put it right into the corner. Finn Russell applying a lot of pressure back on England. This is so good. So good. And they got over the top. Well, they got to the back there, have England. So it's a brave call. And Ben Earl has managed to come away with it. But I think both coaches would have been equally as disappointed with their team's performances. So very interested to see what the chat was at half-time and what we're going to see in the second half. We see a couple of tweaks and stuff like that because both teams very much not anywhere close to their best in that first half. Danny Kerr right up to the touchline. I think that was actually charged down by Grant Gilchrist. No, it is Scotland's line. It's a really, really good pressure. So Scotland have now put England right back inside their own 22 early on. Yes, there we go. Cameron Redpath onto the park in place of Sione Tuipulotu. "24 years of age, Cameron Redpath plays in rugby for Bath alongside Finn Russell. Inside centre is his favourite position, so he was quite happy playing there. Can play across that sort of play in most places. Very good looking more this year for Scotland. It has gone down though, and Ben White's coming away with it, just trying to get away. Mario Tozi's holding on to him, so ball available there for Hugh Jones. Jack Dempsey will hammer this up. Now Finn Russell is going to go into scrum off duties, but a couple of players have emerged, as has George Turner. Picks up and goes himself. There's George Turner. Finn Russell at the back here directing a few things. Wants to see a few phases before he decides to turn the magic. No, we dodge with a nice carry. Yeah, they have to release that. Ben White now sniping himself. Lots of bodies there, but the ball is available there for Scotland. Keeping all in the forwards here. Now Finn Russell's calling for a few things here. Pierce Kuhlman's going to pop, no, show and go. I think we're about to see Finn Russell and co get involved. And they've won the penalty of England, so that's a big penalty. Once again, Finn Russell's going to have a conversation with Andrew Brace here. Huge turn that is for Sam Underhill. Yeah, again, I think the whole sort of release thing seems to have disappeared. We don't really see players releasing tackle in the tackle before having a go, do we? But that's a big period of pressure that England have sustained and managed to get away without conceding a point. Scotland, that's a big opportunity missed, I feel. 4 turnovers won by England so far. And Henry Slade is down, receiving a bit of treatment. We're seeing a lot of medics coming onto the park here. I'm not quite sure why. I think Here's just a Henry Slade that's down. Getting some strapping done. Right, looks like a bit about ready to get going again. Good to see Sam Underhill playing rugby again. That's such an unfortunate career injury-wise. Looked at one stage like it might be the end of his career. And it wouldn't be surprised me, unfortunately, and touch wood it's not, if he is one of those players whose career does get called short because of all the concussions he has had. A phenomenal player when he manages to put in a run of games he gets playing, but just has had so many concussions that, yeah, he's in that very, very sort of worrying area of just the amount of concussions he's had, especially in a short period of time. Anyway, though, they gained 30 metres from that kick, though, have England. So after the 10-metre line, they do first go to the front, I think. No, yeah. No, they're going to go to the back of the line. And it's competed very well and won by Scotland. Now, Finn Russell looking for options. And his kick comes off of Ollie Lawrence. And does really well there. Does Cameron Redpath to go back. Like Cameron Redpath straight through. He needs options. Looking for support. Oh, no, he's done him. Fairbanks managed to get the tackle. Brilliant work there from Cameron Redpath. Now Finn Russell. Chip over the top towards Duan van der Merwe. Is it going to be too much? It's going straight to Duan van der Merwe. There's the hat-trick. Finn Russell with the kick. Cameron Redpath with the break. Duan van der Merwe with the hat-trick. And my word, that is special. That is special. So good for Cameron Redpath, but then here from Finn Russell with all, I thought he'd overcooked it actually. He's yelling for the ball and just sees the space, and it's just so perfect on the bounce. Duan van der Merwe, a hat trick. But Finn Russell, how good, how good. And that's a big moment in the game for Scotland. They open up a bigger lead with a shot to come here from Finn Russell to make it 24 points to 13. Give them an 11-point lead, but they've been so much better so far in the second half here, Scotland. Ironically, so far in the Six Nations, they've generally played pretty well in the first half and then kind of faded. So they might be putting in a bit of a reverse performance. That's a great kick from Finn Russell, straight through the middle. 24 points to 13. Scotland well in control with a... Yeah, he's just such an absolute unit, isn't he? We were having this conversation. Would he make the box squad? And I said, without a shadow of a doubt, he would make the box squad right now. He's world class. He really is. I mean, I think that is now 26 tries in like 37 games. It's mental. It's absolutely mental. He will be Scotland's all-time top try scorer. Like, that's a given. I mean, I think he's currently about third or fourth. I suppose there's Darcy Graham, he's still playing, but yeah, cheapest between those two. The race is on. The race is on. But Duan is more prolific if you looked at tries per game. George Martin on for England. Duan van der Merwe not managing to hold on to that. And there is George Martin. Early contribution. He goes barraging into the Scotland 22. Much better this from England. Now as Gaines gets up to steam and Finn Russell puts in a brave tackle. George Ford goes short to Henry Slade. Much better this from England. Now Genge, you wanted that a bit earlier there. Spencer, by the way, on the park for England. George Martin now. So a couple of changes there for England. 5 phases, penalty advantage here. And there's an intercept there on Kyle Steyn, so they'll go back for the penalty. Interesting decision time here for England. Do they go for the try? Do they go for the points? Time off. Not quite sure why. Once again, they are going to take the points here, Scotland. So George Ford has got his TNT. I think it's the right decision. Just they're 11 points behind. Get them into 8 points. Just get that scoreboard ticking a bit. So we're looking at potential foul play here, I think, and that will be the worst thing for Scotland after really going into the game in the first 10 minutes of the second half. To now lose a player would be a disaster. Oh, it's actually by an England player. No? Okay, so Ellis Genge is actually being looked at here. So this could actually be potential for penalty reversal. So it's how Ellis Genge comes onto Jamie Ritchie here. Yeah, I'll tell you, he's not much. So it is dangerous, but because it's onto his own player, it's okay. Yeah, it is a shoulder charge, no doubt about it. He's been very, very lucky by the fact that it's hit his own player and not Jamie Ritchie. Right, George Ford to add another 3. That's a good kick. Right, 24 points to 17. The game remains alive. Scotland needs to try and score next. Oh, he's knocked that forward as George Martin. That's a huge mistake from him. And that's you can't do that. You cannot do that. He just gets it so wrong. Scrum here for Scotland. Big opportunity, but then trying to hit back. Right, opportunity here for Scotland. What can they cook up with the back of the scrum? It was so annoying for England. They got to 24 points, 16, 8-point advantage, and now concede a scrum straight off the kickoff. If Scotland go and score now, be a massive, massive stuff up. Right, decent scrum there. Cameron Redpath goes himself. Finn Russell, manages to hang on. Gets the offload away to Carl Stay. Carl Stay has to come in field. Still good with possession now. Scotland up here. Skuman. Ah, that's terrible. George Turner losing it forward. Really, really poor at that. Right, so there's Felix Jones watching on. Part of the England setup now. Two-time World Cup winning assistant coach. Yeah, I think your times will be a bit happier with the first 12 minutes so far. England have lucky to got that 3 points, really. Apart from that, it's been all Scotland. Right, well, George Turner, that mistake is his final moment of the game. Jamie Ritchie also being replaced. So going to his bench here is Gregor Townsend. So that'll be Andy Christian, as well as Ewan Ashman. And a penalty for England. Big moment that. Right, so Andy Christie, 24-year-old, plays in the Premiership, plays for Saracens. Just his fifth performance, his fifth game. And then Ewan Ashman, also a youngster, 23 years old. Actually born in Canada, fun fact. Plays rugby for Edinburgh. You got a Mario to the front of the line to England, looking for the running more, but I think it's gone down. It's decent more though. They've managed to get the game about 10 meters. Ben Earl. This is good momentum here from England. Now Mario Toje. Good tackle there from Pierre Skuman. Genge now. Christie gets back to his feet. Now George Martin. Got away with his mistake earlier. Had a nice carry first up. And Spencer dabbed it through, and they've lost possession, I think. This is a penalty for Scotland. It is a penalty for Scotland. Really, really good work there from Scotland. Not sure it's the right option from Spencer to try and chip it through. It's come off the chest and straight back. But then Christie was over to win the turnover. Good work from him. Exciting players, Andy Christie. Very, very keen to see what he does in a Scotland jersey the next few years. Right, now replacement. So Cunningham South and Stewart coming on for England. So Cole will depart, as well as I imagine. Yeah, you got Sam Underhill. Great kick from Finn Russell. That is a phenomenal kick. Literally just outside of 22. Really putting England under a lot of pressure here. Good player, though, is Cunningham South. Exciting young player for England. Just 20 years of age. Already 120 kgs, 1.93. He's an absolute unit. Front of the line out there for Scotland. Good line at that. And it goes back to Ashwin. Now Jack Dempsey almost fighting through the tackle there. Good work from him. Now there's Christie. Replacements getting involved. Finn Russell. Hands it out to Hugh Jones. Hugh Jones puts the grubber through. And I think a penalty advantage here for Scotland. Yeah, it was penalty advantage. So a penalty here. Now question. Now the big decision time here. It's very kickable. And that's probably what they should do, I'd imagine. But the bonus point is also on the line here. But I think you've still got time. I'll take the 3 points here. 27 points, 16. And then start looking for that bonus point try. Do. Right, good kick from George Ford, from Finn Russell right in front. 27 points to 16. And Scotland now controlling the game a bit better. Definitely going into this game. It's a big carry there from Freeman. But Scotland, yeah, I mean, Scotland have really clicked into gear since the half-time break. George Ford, not much going on. Just in the air for Ollie Lawrence to chase. Blair Kinghorn's there. Takes it on the run, though. Good work. He's had a nice return to action, yes, Blair Kinghorn. Finn Russell brings out the torpedo down the middle of the park. George Ford points to Furbank to chase. It will be contestable. Jump on the Mervers there. Ball bounces though and runs into the hands of Scott Cummings. So Scotland will get the ball back. Now swings it to Finn Russell. Finn Russell. He's a bit of space on that right hand side. Carl Stain gives it a chase. Elliot Daly looking to try and round him. Does do very well. Manages to bring in Ollie Lawrence. Spins away into Hugh Jones. Good tackle though from Hugh Jones. Had a good game tonight. Right, Spencer now going to the box kick. That's just outside the 22. Well taken once again from Blair Kinghorn. He's been so good under that high ball. Mr. Reliable, Blair Kinghorn. Skuman slips one tackle. Right, Spencer lifts it high in the air, doing front of moves. And sorry, Carl Staines giving chase. And that ball falls into the hands of, I think it was Ollie Cheston there. Not too much on, so they just go back to the boot. This has been a bit of a ping-pong battle. And Blair Kinghorn this time spills it forward, falls into the hands of Mario Toje. It's a turnover ball here for England. On the 10-meter line, knock-on advantage as well. Chesham. Cunning himself, the big youngster. Benno, it was almost lost in the tackle. Will Stewart, and that has been ripped in the tackle. That's really good work. And then Ben White's kick has been charged down. Blair Kinghorn throws it out towards Finn Russell. Finn Russell, I tell you what, I think it's based on the right hand side, but he's hacked this ahead. And Freeman's going to have to go all the way back inside his 22. So it's Elliot Daly, in fact, right up against the touchline. Found 26 meters there, has Elliot Daly, but it'll be a Scotland line inside England territory. That's the main thing. Really good rip this in the tackle here from Ewan Ashwin. Right, so 20 minutes left of the game here, and another player coming on here. This is Finn Smith, by the way, who replaced George Ford. Yeah, this is very big call here. Here comes Joe Marler, but to replace George Ford with 20 minutes to go, England trailing by 11 points, is a huge call. Joe Marler onto the park as well, as mentioned. So just there, Dan and Emmanuel Feiwaboso, who's still on. Having a look at Duan van der Merwe's hat trick. Another good line out there. Christie getting up to building up a bit of steam. Nice okay from him. Yeah, and this is where, as mentioned by the commentator, this is where Scotland have really struggled in this tournament. They've kind of often faded away in this sort of period of the game, so they need to try and make sure that they do quite the opposite and try to get up again. There's a bonus point wins on the cards, yeah. We'll chip over the top there. The call came from Hugh Jones. Good work there from Freeman. Bit of space there, gets away to Carl Steyn. So that's a good tackle. Comes all the way back towards Spencer. Finn Smith under a bit of pressure there. Bully from deep, Will Stewart. England inside their own half. Carl Steyn underneath it, good take, brings in Bear Kinghorn. Solid K from him. He's been really, really impressed tonight. Now, Finn Russell sees a bit of space down the right-hand side. Finn Smith is there. Finn Smith looking for touch. It's a very, very good touch finder. Carl Steyn allowing to go to touch. I'm not sure it was the right decision. Definitely could have tried to keep it inside. Good kick that from Finn Smith, though. He's made 40 meters. But also, from a Scotland point of view, you're just running the clock down a little bit. You've got 18 minutes left, 11-point lead. They don't need to play the rugby here. England have to make support the issue. Right, now Ben White is replaced. So here comes George Horn. Dempsey now carrying back. Scott is still inside their own half. George Horn gets involved here. Scott Cummings, big tackle on him. Going to go to the boot here is George Horn. Big counter rack there for Will Stewart. George Horn needs to get this ball out. Lifts in the air, Carl Steyn giving chase. And it's spilled backwards by Jamie George. And Fairbank's been caught in the ball. They're trying to hold him up. Eventually do have to release him. Ben Earl almost making a half break. And a penalty for Scotland. Now, once again, decision time. Probably again, get the win, I think. Go for the points. I think I'll take the points here with Finn Russell. 30 points, 16. 14 points. Yeah, I'll take the points. Probably 2 more penalties ideally, and then start looking for that bonus point try. Yeah, I told you going off his feet there. Is that a smile from Gregor Townsend? Who would have thought, Sam? $40 meters on the angle, yeah, for Finn Russell. Yeah, it's not a good kick. Right, another 3 points there for Scotland. 30 points to 16 with 15 minutes remaining on the clock. Really, really impressive from the home side. They really have turned things up in the second half here. So it's going down, what, 10 points to 0? They've gone 30 points to 6. Oh, it's a horribly messed up kickoff there. And it's been one back there from Mario Tojo. He's lost the scrum cap. So really poor receive from Scotland, and England are suddenly back on the front foot. This is part of the game management thing there. You know, there's no point taking 3 points if you then, for example, concede a try here, or concede a penalty. You've got to exit well. He's gone straight through. How's that for a first touch? Emmanuel Fayo is on to the park for Ollie Lawrence. The first time he touches the ball, he goes over for a try. What did I say? What did I say? I said you cannot score points, butcher the kickoff like that, because look what can happen. Now you've taken the 3 points there, and you've conceded 7 effectively, depending on the kick to come. So it's a net loss of 3 or 4 points here. Good line being run, and the Scotland defense absolutely nowhere. Right, and yet, not over yet. Kick to come. An important kick this. 9 points. If this kick is over, then 7 points will get a draw here for England. So the youngster, Finn Smith, lights up his first attempt. And no issues there. Oh, bad back. I'll take it all back. It runs off the poles. It looked pretty good. That's a big miss. That's a huge miss, actually, in the context of the game. But look at that. You see just the Scotland defense just switches off here. Switches off. And he sees the space there, does Ferro Barbosa. Right, so now Scotland, what can they do? Because they get a little bit of fight back in this England team. Well, there goes Jamie George. Their Dan will come on for the final 13 minutes. I imagine Ellis Genge will probably be captaining right now, or Mario Tojo. For as much as everybody backs Mario Tojo as a captain, he never seems to be a captain. But Theo Dan, who wasn't used a lot at all already during the World Cup, gets 30 minutes. Spencer finds his clearance. And Scotland will have a line out just outside of the 22. Grant Gilchrist off and Sam Skinner on. So I'm pretty sure that's most benches that have been unleashed here. Just Ben Healy on the bench for Scotland. And I think, yeah, he's back on as Elliot Miller-Mills. And for England, they got the full bench on. So just Ben Healy left on the 2 benches. I don't think we'll see Finn Russell being subbed. So it would be surprising me if we don't see Ben Healy at all, actually. Finn Russell popping up. It's a really good hand. Good hands. Good hands. Andy Christie steps inside. Oh, obstruction. Oh, I think that's a bit harsh. Penalty England. Scotland not doing a very good job of managing the game here. Okay, yeah, it does run to Mario Tojo. Well, I don't think actually would have affected the tackle. I think he was going on the other side anyway. So I think he actually got a bit lucky there, Mario Tojic. I think he had actually gotten the read wrong. Right, here comes Theo Dan, his first throw of the match. Interesting to see if Scotland do try and contest. They don't contest. They're looking to try and stop them all before it begins. Looks pretty well set from a defensive side point of view, Scotland. Once is the call there. Spencer is going to have to use this. Good tackle there for Finn Russell again. Nice and quickly, nice and low as well. Mario Tojo looking to try and steal that ball. They've held him up, in fact. More is the call. This we turned over. That is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant work. All the momentum shifted towards England. They were getting the over the green. They're getting a couple of calls. They're building a lot of momentum. And then Jack Dempsey goes and holds up. Of all players, Mario Tojo, that's a big moment in the game. To be able to do that when it counts the most is very, very impressive. They had that 12 dominant tackles. So Scotland very much have brought the physicality tonight. And with less than 10 minutes on the clock, that could be a big moment in the game. Now it's a scrum, important that they need to get this ball in and out and get this back down to England's side of the field. And they go on the right-hand side. Finn Russell takes a bit of time and then goes to the boot. Right, Furbank underneath it. Wants to go for a run. It's a big tackle coming on him. Gets the offload away though, but turnover ball to Blair Kinghorn. So Scotland come away with it. Knock on advantage as well. Now Christie, good tackle on him. Manages to get the offload away to Finn Russell. Finn Russell goes to Cameron Redpath. So the dummy does to Cameron Redpath. Gets past a couple of defenders. Good work from him. Been good since he's come on. Now Finn Russell looks to try and put the jabber in, but it comes off with Joe Marler. And there's a knock on, I think, from Joe Marler. So it'll go back to be another Scotland scrum, which will wait a bit of time. That's an interesting point. The commentator says he's got a 3-year-old son. He's saying his son has never seen England beat Scotland. And I tell you what, it's been a very interesting switch in the dynamic about the fact that Scotland just have England's number at the moment. And so this would be 4 in the bounce if they get over the line here, with 8 minutes to go and 9 points the margin, looking pretty good. Is that Hugh Jones leaving the park? No, it's Cameron Redpath with a blood nose. So Ben Healy will come onto the park. Reset scrum, that'll suit Scotland. Do. And a free kick for Scotland. That'll work for them. And Finn Russell, I'm sure, will just launch us into the England half. Oh, bless me. Puts it on there. That's good. Finn Russell, lots of chases, including Junior van der Merwe, but tearing down on West and Currie basketball. He's done really well, actually. Joe Marler now, solid carry from him. Last 6.5 minutes left on the clock. And it's a good kick there from England. They've retained possession. Now looking to try and launch the counter-attack. Ollie Lawrence goes to... Well, that could be a high tackle. No. I don't think he actually ended up touching him, did Horn. England, all of a sudden, with a bit of fight. 6 minutes to go, though. And you need more than a converted try to win this game. Spencer's going to go to the boot. Listed high in the air. It will be contestable. Blair Kingwell's underneath it. He's been so good all night and is once again very good underneath it. Now Cummings, he's worked a lot hard, very hard. Oh, and it's been knocked on forward there from Finn Smith. So turnover ball for Scotland on the Timmy line inside England hot territory. Finn Russell spots a bit of space on that right-hand side. Faber Bossa goes behind and fetches it. And there's an advantage here for England. I think it was a high tackle advantage. Yeah, so they go back. So it's offside, in fact. It's all the way back. Cameron Redpath wants to get back on the park. Yeah, it's really, really silly by George Horn. Allowing England back into Scotland territory. Right, so Cameron Redpath will come back on. Yeah, I don't think we'll see Ben Healy again, unfortunately, for the reserve fly half. But youngsters, Ben Healy, plenty of rugby years of international rugby ahead of him. Right, Theo Dan. They go to the back line. It's a good line out. Fat from Spencer. Fat from Smith to Ben Earl in the midfield. Now Spencer, quick ball here. England desperately trying to find something. Finn Smith takes it to the line himself. Now Cunningham himself pops it up to Elliot Daly. Ollie Lawrence, long pass otherwise. Not a great pass. In fact, it's a dreadful pass. Got it straight out. And Scotland will take all the time in the world they need to get this one sorted. Really, really poor pass that from Ollie Lawrence. Right, man of the match candidates here. I'll be interested to see who they go with. I think Jack Dempsey's had a very good game. I think Finn Russell's had another good game. From an England point of view, Ben Earl's played well. I think that Daly's actually been pretty good. Blair Kingwell's been very good today. Been very impressed with him. Hugh Jones. Very interested to see how, obviously Junior van der Merwe will get the man of the match. Just looking at other options, I mean, we've scored a hat-trick, so it's not exactly going to be a difficult decision, is it? And that's a great maul, by the way. They're into the England half here, Scotland, on a bit of a rampage. And then they eventually, while they go there, and the ball gets ripped by Mario Toje, but they're all the way back inside their own half here, England. So not a bad net gain there, net result for Scotland. Ball over the top. And it's a huge tackle by Junior van der Merwe. Goodness me. And Ollie Lawrence comes away with it. Junior van der Merwe absolutely manhandling his opposite number. I think it was Freeman. I think it's the penalty on Junior van der Merwe for it was a massive tackle. Look at this, just bang, and he lifts it up and just dumps him. Not a great tackle from BITDEFENDER, but anyway, 2 minutes left on the clock. He is the player of the match, as it guess. And he is going to go into the sin bin. So a yellow card for him. I don't think he'll really care. Scotland have basically got the game in the bag, but they will play the final 1.5 minutes with a yellow card. This is a fair shot for life, does BITDEFENDER, for someone who's just scored a hat trick. But I think, I don't think he's particularly happy with that yellow card. All right, Lawrence Finn-Smith popping up to fairway Boswell. Another good carry from the youngster. Up to the 22, England go. And they're looking to hold him up once again. I think it's a more called. Yeah, so good. So good. Scotland have been terrific the second half. Proper second half. And you can hear that now they know it. 4 in a row. 4 in a row. This is one of the better Scotland teams yet you'll watch. And I tell you, when they play like this, it's so difficult not to like them. Look what it means to the coaching staff. There it is. They've done it again. They've done it again. And do you want to move as escape to a red card? He will just remain in a yellow card. That's probably why he's a bit stressed, but he's all good. Just the yellow card. Now he can smile. Last few seconds, and then the game, she is done. What a result this is for Scotland. Ben Russell with a massive smile on his face. Look what it means to the Scottish lads. And there it is. The Calcutta Cup will remain in Scotland. What a game. What a second half it is. John van der Merwe with the hat trick. People, thank you very much for joining me over the day. We will see you tomorrow. Well, actually, we'll see you tonight. 7s tonight, 7s tomorrow, 6 days again tomorrow. We'll be live. And then on Varsity Cup on Monday. So we're live for the next few days. So make sure you come